I wanted my movie to be watched and to be loved by the entire country, which is why we zeroed in on Akshay sir speaking Hindi. I watched Gehraiya, and Ananya was so good in that film where she showcased a very sensitive side. Ananya has undertaken dialect classes for more than a year to get the Punjabi diction right. In fact, Simon Paisley Day, the actor who plays General Dyer, he went on record to say that he's ashamed to be an Englishman. We want the people in UK to know the truth, and I feel once the truth is spoken, an apology is not far away.
Karan Singh Tyagi, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you.
Karan, first, many congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Directorial debut, Kesari Chapter 2, which has received a thumbs up from audiences and critics alike. I just want to start by asking you, how are you feeling? How relieved are you after seeing the positive feedback to your film?
I am overwhelmed. I'm feeling a sense of gratitude. I have never received so many messages, so many calls from people in the industry. I have received messages from common audience, and I'm touched to see their reaction. I have been seeing videos of people hooting, clapping, whistling, shouting slogans of Inqilab Zindabad along with Shankar Nair as he gives his final speech. I'm just so touched.
You know, when you're working with seasoned actors like Akshay Kumar and R. Madhavan, they also come with decades of experience. Did they offer inputs or suggestions or fully trust your vision?
It was a collaborative experience. They fully championed my vision completely, and at the same time offered a lot of key insights and a lot of key inputs. Just to give a small example, Maddie sir brought a lot of depth and nuance to his portrayal of Neville McKinley. In fact, very early on, the two of us zeroed in on a particular idea that Neville McKinley was not defending the crown, he was out there to defeat Shankar Nair. So there is a nuance, there's a thin line there. He was never subservient to General Dyer, he was never subservient to the British Empire. He was on his personal mission, and that only an actor of his experience brings out that particular nuance. Akshay sir was very involved in writing the film. Akshay sir understood the core emotion behind the script so well. He knew that we were honoring the lives of people who died at Jallianwala Bagh. He knew that we were honoring Shankar Nair's bravery. And there have been several script reading sessions with him where he's asked me 1,000 questions. We have studied mannerisms of famous lawyers. We've seen how famous lawyers practice. In fact, Supreme Court proceedings are now televised. So the two of us have watched Supreme Court proceedings to understand how a lawyer argues in court. So it was a great experience.
So then, staying with Akshay Kumar plays a Malyali lawyer as Shankar Nair in the film. Yet he did not have that Malyali accent or a South Indian accent.
Correct.
What was the idea behind Shankar Nair having a non-Malyali accent?
So we had a lot of sessions with Shankar Nair's family, where after talking to Raghu Palat, who is Shankar Nair's great-grandson, we understood
who has written the book.
We understood that Shankar Nair was a lawyer who travelled across the country to argue cases. And when you're arguing cases one day in Madras, one day in the heart of India, in central India, you kind of pick up a language that is palatable to everybody.
But did you contemplate the idea of him having an accent?
So I wanted my movie to be watched and to be loved by the entire country, which is why we zeroed in on Akshay sir speaking Hindi in the most accurate way possible.
Can you please talk to us about casting Ananya Panday, and was she your first choice?
Yes, so I watched Gehraiya, and Ananya was so good in that film where she showcased a very sensitive side, and I wanted Dilpreet Gill's character to have a mix of vulnerability and strength, a mix of vulnerability and a steely resolve, and I think Ananya has done a fabulous job.
You know, I really like the way she pronounced Jalandhar in the film, and the attention to detail in the fashion of that time. That, can you talk to us about what kind of research went into deciding the look for the characters?
So, firstly, thank you for catching the pronunciation of Jalandhar, because Ananya will be very happy to hear this. Ananya has undertaken dialect classes for more than a year to get the Punjabi diction right. She has shadowed a lawyer in the Bombay High Court to get the court mannerisms right. And as far as getting the look, I was very lucky to work with Sheetal Sharma, who is an accomplished costume designer. He is the costume designer of a movie like Gangubai as well. And me and him did a lot of research. We looked at photographs of that time. We looked at some archive videos of that time to get the costumes correct.
Now there are many English actors who are part of the film. What was their reaction when they watched the film and learned about Jallianwala Bagh massacre?
So it was an eye opener for them. They were not aware of their own country's history. They were left stunned when they understood the extent of evil that was perpetrated by their own country.
What did they have to say after watching the film about
They
this?
expressed remorse, they expressed regret. In fact, Simon Paisley Day, the actor who plays General Dyer, he went on record to say that he's ashamed to be an Englishman.
You know, while the film is based on the bestseller, The Case That Shook the Empire, but what was the idea? Like, who kept the name? What was the idea behind naming it Kesari Chapter 2 and not, say, Shankar Nair versus, say,
So-
British Raj?
So, for us, Kesari stands for the color of revolution. Kesari stands for stories of valor, stories of bravery, stories of unsung heroes. And here we were documenting one such story. So, I think there could have been no better title than Kesari Chapter 2.
But whose idea was this?
I think Akshay sir was the one who first came up with the idea, but that idea was instantly lapped up by all of us.
Now, this is my favorite question. Which was the thematic scene of the film? The one which tells us the message of the movie or director क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा है?
So, in fact, here I would say the scene where Shankaran Nair goes to meet Pargat. And Shankaran Nair at that point of time is a British aristocrat. He is telling Pargat that आंदोलन में कुछ नहीं रखा, तुम्हें स्कूल जाना चाहिए, तुम्हें इंग्लिश सीखनी चाहिए. And Pargat, with steely resolve in his eyes, with determination in his eyes, looks at Shankaran and tells him कि कहानियाँ कविताएं चाहे जितनी भी अच्छी हों, उनसे देश तो नहीं चलता ना. मेरा नाम परगत सिंह है, मैं कृपाल सिंह का बेटा हूँ. And in that scene, what he is doing, he's passing the light of revolution from which he received from his own father to Shankaran Nair, and Shankaran takes that revolution forward. So for me, that is the scene which thematically talks about the idea of revolution, and that is the scene which is a turning point in Shankaran Nair's life.
I also like the dialogue where he says कि Sunday को भी सच आता है.
Yeah, that in fact in that particular scene, Shankaran Nair comes and tells him कि पर ये जो तुम अखबार बना रहे हो, कल तो रविवार है, कल तो दफ्तर बंद होगा. And Pargat just says, पर अखबार तो रोज आता है, सच कैसे छुट्टी पे जाएगा सर?
Wow, what a lovely line.
So truth can never go on a holiday. And here I was blessed to work with Sumit Saxena, who is a fantastic dialogue writer. Sumit and Akshat Gildial, they have done a superb job in crafting such memorable dialogues.
So then, which scene, according to you, was the one that you were most nervous about while shooting?
Actually, our preparation was such that I was not nervous about any scene because we went through extensive preparation where we were very sure of what we were shooting. I would not call it nervousness, but I wanted to be very sensitive to the Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, which is why we wanted to be very authentic when we were depicting the massacre. So that scene came with its own set of challenges. Also because the Jallianwala Bagh massacre has been beautifully depicted on screen. Actually, beautiful is the wrong word. It is so heart-wrenchingly been depicted on screen in Sardar Udham, in Gandhi, that we wanted our Jallianwala Bagh sequence to stand out for itself. So that was a challenge. But I feel because of the great team that I had at my disposal, we have done full justice to that scene.
I think people really, this is one of the rare films that for even people stayed back for the end credits and the tribute that you paid to
Correct,
to those
correct,
who were killed.
correct.
Was that always part of the
Yes,
script?
because we've made the film to honor the sacrifice of people who died at Jallianwala Bagh. That is one of the core reasons behind making this film. Those were innocent people, sir, who came to celebrate Baisakhi and they left as martyrs. So the film is an ode to their bravery, to their sacrifice, which is why we wanted to end the film by naming the list of the people that was in public domain. So we wanted to pay our homage to them.
There's over 1,000 people who died.
In reality, the number runs into there's no official record. In reality, people say around 4,000, 5,000 people died because the survivors' testimony, they tell us that the air of Jallianwala Bagh air of Amritsar was filled with the stench of death for months. So you can imagine the amount of casualties.
Every director wants that his film to make a big impact, and so same I think in the case of Kesari 2. Are you also hoping, like Akshay Kumar had mentioned at the trailer launch, that British government or the Crown should now offer an apology to India for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre?
So I can't speculate as to what the British government will do, but I know for a matter of fact that after the massacre, the British Empire back in the day, they put their entire strength in projecting a fake narrative. They put their entire strength in projecting a narrative where they called innocent people terrorists. And it shocks me that even till this day, Caroline Dyer still believes in that narrative, still believes that people at Jallianwala Bagh were looters. The reason why we have made this film is to demolish that narrative. So we want the people in UK to know the truth. And I feel once the truth is spoken, an apology is not far away.
What was your first reaction when you saw the first cut of the film? Was this the film you dreamt of? Were you happy with the first cut of the film? Generally, directors say, they don't like what they see.
In fact,
give an honest answer.
In fact, on the contrary, I was very happy with the first. I'm being very contrarian here, but I was very happy with the first cut. In fact, this is exactly what I set out to achieve, and I think I've done justice to the story that I had in my hand.
Personally, Karan, how your life has changed in these last 7 days? The kind of love you're receiving, or being supported by some of the biggest names from Bollywood, be it Karan Johar or other actors.
It's been overwhelming. In fact, if you have seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, there's a scene where the protagonist walks out and the voiceover says, "This part of my life, this is called happiness." That's what I'm feeling right now.
A lovely line. Karan, is there a film that you think that perhaps changed your life, or the one that inspired you to become a filmmaker?
So I've grown up on the cinema of the 90s. I have grown up on large-scale entertainers. I've loved the work of a filmmaker like Rajkumar Santoshi. I think his movies had a lot of force, a lot of power, and a lot of societal impact. So I've loved Rajkumar Santoshi's work. I have loved the work of Ashutosh Gowarikar. See, naming one film is very, very, very difficult, but I love Ghayal. If you have to ask me, I just love Ghayal.
Do you remember watching it for the first time? When, where?
I think I watched it with my father, and I was just moved by Sunny Deol's performance. I was just moved by the emotional impact it had on me, by what it was talking about. It took a stand against injustice, and I was very moved by that story.
And finally, what next? Have you decided your next directorial? Next dream?
I'm currently in the process of writing it. It's too early to talk about it, but I want to make sure that my next film is watched by more people. It's a big entertainer, and I keep telling stories of human drama.
Well, congratulations again on the success of Kesari Chapter 2.
Thank you.
We have huge hopes from you. The country has huge hopes from you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to lots more what you do next. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.